Forum area, and thank you all for joining at our opening ceremony of our inaugural Victoria Economic Development Forum, and thank you all for joining us today. 尊敬的各位领导、各位来宾、亲爱的各位女士们、先生们，感谢各位来到我们的论坛区，也再次欢迎各位来到我们的论坛开幕式以及我们的主旨演讲环节。那在这里呢，也要特别跟大家分享到的是，我们此次的展会和论坛呢，会在微信视频号、澳洲印象直播以及 YouTube 3大平台进行实时的直播。也就是说，除了我们现场上千人的关注之外呢，我们还有场外上万人的关注，在我们这个盛况啊，在我们这个展会和论坛。那接下来呢，请允许我来介绍我们今天在剪彩仪式没有提到的 VIP 嘉宾。In addition to the guests introduced during the ribbon cutting ceremony, please allow me to express my gratitude to the arrival of our other VIP guests. 他们是中国驻墨尔本总领馆商务参赞卞长征昌征卞 Commercial Counselor General of the People's Republic of China in Melbourne. 中国驻墨尔本总领馆季雪翠领事薛翠姬 Counselor General of the People's Republic of China in Melbourne. And I would also like to welcome Mr. Keith Wallenhan MP, Federal Member for Menzies. Welcome. And please welcome Councillor Philip Liu, Melbourne City Councillor, 墨尔本市议员 Philip Liu 先生。Warmly welcome Mr. Paul Hamer MP, State Member for Box Hill 选区州议员 Paul Hamer. 维州移民部刘杰 Dr. 杰刘 Relationship and Business Intelligence Officer, Migration Branch Industry. 前澳大利亚人民大使赵捷豹先生 Chapter Former People of Australian Ambassador. 中国总商会墨尔本分会会长、南方航空墨尔本办事处总经理潘元生先生 ，Mr. Justin Pan, Chairman of China Chamber of Commerce in Australia Melbourne Branch, General Manager of China Southern Airlines Melbourne Office. 欢迎维多利亚工商会国际业务发展经理 Eddie Zhao, International Business Development Manager, Victorian Chamber of Commerce and Industry. 中远驻澳新地区首席代表、执行董事肖建勇先生 ，Andrew Shao, Managing Director of Chief Representative of Costco Shipping Bulk. 中国航空驻墨尔本办事处韩鹏宇先生 ，Peter Han, GM of Air China Melbourne Office. Charming Woods 品牌创始人、总裁陈新宇先生 ，Mr. Xingyu Chen, Founder and CEO of Charming Woods. Burwood 幸运草残障及老年服务中心经理苏俊熙 ，Manager of the Care Plus Disability and Aged Care Burwood Centre. 皇家墨尔本理工大学终身荣誉学者兼澳华研究学会主任陈杨国生 ，Miss 陈杨国生 ，Honorary University Fellow and Director of the Chinese Australian Studies Forum of RMIT University. Manningham 前市长杨千惠女士 ，Miss 千惠 Yang, Former Mayor of Manningham. 澳大利亚上海商会会长、前华联会主席钱恒玉先生 ，Simon Chen, President of Australian Shanghai Business Association, Former President of the Federation of Chinese Association. 澳洲华人联合会主席、澳大利亚湖北同乡会湖北商会会长季建明先生 ，Mr. Jian Mingji, President of Australian Hubei Business Association. 澳中商侨会长、澳大利亚维州山东商会会长陈广宝 ，Jordan Chen, President of ACBCC, President of Australia Victoria Shandong Commerce Chamber. 福建同乡会会长、澳华全国妇女会会长陈琛 ，Rowena Chen, President of the National Australian Chinese Women Association. 澳亚商业女性协会会长魏娟 ，Jane Zhen Wei, President of the Australian Asian Business Women Association. 澳大利亚深圳联谊总会澳大利亚深圳总商会会长谭德强 ，Mr. Tam Dan, President of Shenzhen Association of Australia, Shenzhen Business Association of Australia. 澳大利亚东北同乡会会长吕欧 ，Lucy Liu, President of Australia Dongbei Chinese Association. 大利亚东北商会监事长、东北工商联合会联合主席侯伟先生 ，Mr. Wei Ho, Chief Supervisor of Australian Dongbei Chinese Association。澳大利亚天津同乡会商会会长王岭梅女士 ，Miss Lin Mei Wang, President of Australian Tianjin Association。澳大利亚辽宁商会会长魏永亮 ，Mr. Yongling Wang。President of Australian Liaoning Business Association。澳大利亚吉林商会会长孙立德 ，President of Australian Jilin Business Association。同济大学校友会前会长万金胜 ，Mr. Jin Sheng Wan, former President of Tongji University Alumni Association。澳大利亚豫商总会荣誉会长王悦 ，Wanda Wang, Honorary President of the Federation of 河南 Chamber of Commerce Australia。欢迎澳大利亚云南同乡会商会会长李如歌 ，Miss Ruge Li, Director of Australia Yunnan Society。澳大利亚著名女高音于淑琴 ，Miss Shu Qin Yu, Multi-Award-winning opera singer。维州山东商会副会长刘肖南 肖南刘 Vice President of Victoria Shandong Commerce Chamber。论坛嘉宾代表 RMIT 人工智能中心主任宋正教授 Professor Andy Song Forum Guest Representative Manager of the Center of Industrial AI Research and Innovation RMIT。澳洲上市公司 Symbol Solution 执行董事 XMBA 商学院创始人王小麦先生 ，Mr. Xiaomei Wang, Executive Director of Symbol Solutions, Founder and Headmaster of XMBA Academy。墨尔本大学农业食品生态学院食品和葡萄酒科学博士生导师张庞征教授 ，Dr. Pang Zheng Zhang, Senior Lecturer, School of Agriculture, Food and Ecosystem Sciences。再次欢迎各位的到来 and welcome everyone。请原谅我没有办法一一介绍我们到场的所有嘉宾，但是我们非常想让大家知道的是，你们的到来对于我们此次的展会和论坛有了非常深刻以及重要的意义。And let us once again extend our gratitude to all our guests for joining us today。谢谢大家。那接下来就让我们来隆重的有请我们此次活动主办方巨奥传媒总裁、展会组委会主席秦玲女士上台做开场致辞。Please welcome Ms. Laura Chin, Chairman of Expo and Forum Committee, Founder of Osfocus Media, to share her opening speech.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to our very big event. Yeah, I'm Laura Chin, the head of Osfocus Media, the organizer of this exhibition. First, please allow me, on behalf of all my colleagues at the Inaugural Victoria Commerce and Investment Innovative Expo and Economic Development Forum, to extend our heartfelt thanks and sincere greetings to the following distinguished guests and all my good friends for their presence. Keith Wallenhai, MP Federal Member for Menzies. Yeah. Xin Wenfang, Consulate General of the People's Republic of China in Melbourne. Paul Hammer, MP State Member for Box Hill. Councillor Carly Long, Mayor of the Manningham. Councillor Andrew Davenport, Deputy Mayor of Whitehorse. Philip Liu, Councillor for the City of the Melbourne. Zhining Yang, Market Leader, Greater China and New Zealand, West Victoria. On the occasion of Osfocus Media 10th anniversary, we are honored to jointly host the VCIIE with the Australia Commerce and Culture Foundation, which is funded by Aaron and me. VCIE wishes to revitalize Victoria's economy, promote Sino-Australia bilateral trade, and focus on emerging investment opportunities with confidence and hope for the future. We extend our heartfelt gratitude for your support and participation in this grand event. We understand that enterprises are the cornerstone of economic development. Therefore, we are committed to helping them expand their influence and enhance their competitiveness. At the same time, we encourage innovation by integrating new technologies such as AI and digitalization into business practices. Injecting fresh vitality into enterprises and achieving interconnected businesses, sales, and profit. This expo encompasses various fields, including business services, trade, and investment. We hope that through this event, we can foster cooperation, expand exchanges, and create a new landscape for future development. As numerous flowers bloom, spring becomes lush. As thousands of sails compete, the grandeur of waves is revealed. VCIE has lofty aspirations and is willing to be a pioneer for the trendsetters of the new era. We bear the burden to leave our mark, and we look forward to meeting you on the other side and celebrating our success together. A decade of perseverance has forged our bond, and we are grateful for your companionship along the way. Thank you very much, all of my friends.
Thank you, Miss Chen， 感谢秦女士。那接下来呢，我将有幸邀请中国驻墨尔本总领事馆总领事房新文领事上台致辞。And next, it is my great honor to invite Mr. Xing Wenfeng, Consul General of the People's Republic of China in Melbourne, to the stage and make his speech. 有请。
A very good morning to all of you. So Ms. Laura Chin and Mr. Keith Wollenhan, federal member for Menzies, and Mr. Paul Hammer, my good friend, state member for Box Hill, and Mrs. Carly Long, the mayor of Manningham, and Mr. Philip Liu, my good friend again, councillor for the city of Melbourne, and all my good friends, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I'm honored to be invited to attend the inaugural Victoria Expo Economic Development Forum, which is hosted by the AusFocus Media. And I know this year also marks the 10th anniversary of AusFocus Media. So, Laura, please accept my warmest congratulations on this very memorable and auspicious occasion. And on behalf of the Consulate General of the People's Republic of China in Melbourne, I would like to extend our warm congratulations on this event. And please also accept, my dear friends, the heartfelt welcome to all the people. This event centered on issues of common interest, such as new technology, new developments, and new opportunities for China-Australia business cooperation. And here today, in the same room, in the same forum, we are going to discuss the new measures introduced to further boost the cooperation between China and Australia, between Victoria and the counterparts and the sistership provinces and cities as well. And I hope this occasion or this forum will bring more chances to promote the development of China-Australia economic relations and cooperation. We know the economies of China and Australia are highly complementary to each other. China has been proudly been the largest trading partner with Australia for 15 consecutive years. And we should strive to extend and make the cake of our common interest much bigger, and jointly promote the stable and healthy development of China-Australia relations. We know Victoria has achieved fruitful cooperation with China in many fields, such as education, trade, economy, culture, etc. Just in terms of trade with China, this accounts for more than 1/4 of Victoria's total foreign trade. The cooperation between Victoria and the Jiangsu province, which this year marks their 45th anniversary, and with Sichuan province, which is more than a decade long, is an important milestone or manifestation to the flourishing friendly relations between us. The continuous, stable, and positive bilateral relations would provide confidence for the business cooperation and business communities of both sides to conduct deeper and broader cooperation. The currently steady progress of the Chinese economy has contributed to 1/3 of the global growth. And we also have a very good start in the first quarter of this year, proving that the fundamentals of China's economy and the long-term improvement have not changed. The strong development of China's economy will also bring more opportunities for the economic development of Australia and Victoria, of Australia and China. Just as I said, a long-term and strong and stable and prosperous Chinese economy would mean greater opportunity to Australia, and vice versa. A strong, stable, and long-term flourishing Australian economy will also mean greater opportunities for China. We have noticed that some media reports on China's economy are not true, such as labeling China's new energy vehicles, the electric vehicles, as excess capacity or overcapacity. This argument is actually undermining the division of labor in the international supply chain, and is a form of actually a trade protectionism. In the global context, judging whether it's overcapacity or not should not consider global demand and future development potential as well. For example, most of Australia's iron coal is exported to other countries, but we cannot simply label this as overcapacity. According to the International Energy Agency, global demand for new energy vehicles will reach 45 million units by 2030. So this means 4 times of that of 2022. China's development of the new energy vehicles has complied with international market demand, benefiting many consumers and contribute to the efforts for climate change. So politicizing and over-interpreting the security of economic and trade issues, such as capacity, is not in line with the economic principles and be detrimental to the industrial upgrading of domestic industries, and by no means conducive to the stable and long-term development of the world economy. So therefore, protectionism is not the solution, and win-win cooperation is the direction of the future development. This year also marks the 10th anniversary of China-Australia relations, and China and Australia strategic comprehensive partnership, as well as the 10th anniversary of the state visits by President Xi Jinping. And the event like this is very helpful, and we hope for more events like this, which could further promote more exchanges and cooperation, making greater contribution to the continuous positive development of China-Australia relations. So I wish this forum a complete success. Thank you very much.
感谢房总领事 Thank you, Mr. Fang. And next, please welcome Mr. Keith Wallenhan MP, Federal Member for Menzies, to join us on the stage and to share his speech.
Welcome everyone. This is a room full of distinguished guests. I won't repeat all of the list that you acknowledged at the start, but I want to welcome all of you to Menzies, which also fully overlaps with Manningham. Welcome, Consul General. You're welcome in the seat of Menzies. We're very grateful to have you here. To all of the elected officials, including Paul Hamer, and now I'm doing the list, to the Mayor of Manningham and all of the councillors and all of you, welcome. When you move these connecting walls, this is a very large room where just about every citizen in Manningham and Menzies swears an oath to become an Australian. It's the most important thing I think I can do as a member, and same with the Mayor, and I'm sure the state members as well. And in that room, there is a larger proportion of people who've come from China. My seat here in Menzies has 27% Chinese diaspora, and I'm extremely proud of that. And in that room, we hear about all of the rights and obligations that come with being a citizen. But the thing that matters most in that room is the idea in everyone's head of all of the opportunities that come with being an Australian. And there is no greater opportunity than the freedom of starting and running your own business, which starts off small and then becomes bigger. In fact, as the brochure that Laura put together for the Expo says, 90% of Australian businesses are small or medium. And in a forum like this, there is a chance for businesses to share ideas, to meet each other, and to maybe have that small business become a big one and a large one. But I also think back to that moment in the room where families are thinking through of opportunities. And it's not just opportunities for them as an individual, it's not a selfish idea. It's one about the generations that come after them. It is about aspiration for others. And so when I walk around the industrial and retail areas of this electorate, and I meet young families who are starting their own business, I'll see them, they're first in, they're last to leave, they pay themselves last, they're devoted to their customers. And then often sitting in a corner are their children doing their homework. And that is such an admirable thing, because at its heart is an aspiration for others. And there is a lesson in that for governments at a state and a federal level, that our focus shouldn't be on our respective parties or even the government. Our measure of success is the aspiration of others, the aspiration of you. So I want to thank you, Laura, for putting this together, and on your 10th anniversary for AusFocus. I myself, when I was coming here, got a text from a friend from high school who's got a stand, who said, "I see you're coming, let's say hello." And we haven't seen each other in 20 years. Because that's what an expo does, it brings people together. And when you bring people together, they share ideas and they grow. And that's what today is about. And I thank you for putting it on, and I thank you all for coming here.
Thank you so much, Keith. And next, please join me in warmly welcoming Mr. Paul Hamer MP, our state member for Box Hill, to join me on the stage and deliver his speech. 让我们掌声欢迎 Mr. Paul Hamer 先生。
Thank you very much. I'd also like to start by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which we're meeting, and pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging. I also won't acknowledge all of the distinguished guests, but I do want to thank you, Consul General Fung. I know you've only been in Australia and you're posting for just a few months, but I know we've seen each other many times, and you have really made an enormous effort to try and understand the Australian culture, and particularly the Australian Chinese community. So and it's wonderful to see you here again today. Also to Laura, thank you for as Keith said, bringing everyone together for this wonderful exhibition, and also for your 10th anniversary. I know that many of the community in this room today probably know who I am, thanks to your good work at AusFocus and the team at AusFocus, and particularly your news anchor Tianhua, who always presents some wonderful stories about Box Hill and the broader community. I also wanted to just reflect on what this does mean for the local community. As Keith was saying, many of the community here have arrived relatively recently over the last 10 or 15 years. And many of them do settle there. Keith and I share some of our electorate, and this is how a lot of people start their community. They come here, they want to start a business, and they'll start their business in their own home, and they'll build up from there. And that building it in your own home means building it in this community. And hopefully for many of them, they will go on to bigger and better things and maybe start manufacturing products in Australia or importing large goods, and they need to set up a retail store. But it all begins from the home, and it all begins here locally in Manningham and in Whitehorse, because this is really the heart of the community. So I do want to thank everyone who's come here today, and everyone who's participating in this expo. I think it is a wonderful idea to promote our wonderful community, and I just wanted to thank Laura again. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you. And next, I would love to invite Councillor Carly Lane, Mayor of Manningham, to deliver her speech. 让我们掌声欢迎 Carly.
Well, I just want to start by saying a very exciting good morning and welcome to Manningham. I can't tell you how excited I was to get up this morning and to know that the Investment and Commerce Expo was coming to Manningham City, and even more importantly coming to our Civic Centre. So I say a very good morning to all the VIPs and dignitaries that are in this room. When we did that congratulations at the beginning, and it was so important to go through each one of you name by name and title, I just want to say a very warm good morning. Thank you for coming to Manningham, and welcome to our Civic Centre. We are lucky to be in a very beautiful city, but it is so important to know that we are custodians of this city, and that there are people, our First Nations people, who this area and this land is truly important and spiritual to them. So I would love to begin with our acknowledgement of country. We're very proud of it, and we worked with our Wurundjeri Woiwurrung Council to develop it together, because our relationship together is a custodianship of this land which is so dear to them. So Manningham Council acknowledges the Wurundjeri Woiwurrung people as the traditional owners of the land and waterways now known as Manningham. Council pays respects to elders past, present and emerging, and values their ongoing contribution to enrich and appreciate the cultural heritage of Manningham. Council also acknowledges Australia's First Peoples as the traditional owners of the land and waterways across this country, and encourages reconciliation between all. And I know that we did mention all the dignitaries, but as the Mayor, I do actually want to say thank you for being here. So thank you, Keith Wallahan, MP, Federal Member for Menzies, coming to Manningham and always been a part. It is so important that we have a close relationship with our federal and our state. I would also like to welcome Paul Hammer here, our State Member for Box Hill, Councillor Andrew Devonport, Deputy Mayor of Whitehorse, Councillor Philip Liu, City of Melbourne. I'd also like to acknowledge Mr. Fang, Consulate General, and Consulate General of the People's Republic of China in Melbourne. So thank you. And I know that you're going to be here for some time, but enjoy your whole time here, and safe travels when you do go home. But maybe you can go, well, I'm torn between homes. And I'd also like to welcome I'd also like to welcome the two organisers. And I know that the excitement that I felt this morning was because of the organisation that has gone into the preparation for the event. We can have a lovely event, and I would like to acknowledge all of the exhibitors and the stalls and the businesses next door. But that doesn't happen without the key organisers. and I know the excitement of today was because they put so much work in. So I would like Laura and Aaron, if you wouldn't mind standing so we can congratulate you on the organisers of this expo. So Laura is the chairman and expo of the forum, as well as the founder of AusFocus Media, and Aaron is the chairman of Australian Commerce and Culture Foundation. So thank you. Manningham Council values the contributions made to Manningham by people of diverse backgrounds and cultures. It is something we are just so proud about, to be part of a city that is multicultural. And there was no more important way for us to begin this morning with our lion dance team. And I'd just like to congratulate them, even though they're not here, because it was a beautiful morning, but it shows truly what we value so much. And that is our multicultural community and the traditions, including the dance, food, businesses, and also the different religions that come with being multicultural. So it was a perfect way to begin the morning, and I'd just like to thank the Lion Dance team for commencing this morning's proceedings. I also enjoyed the AI robot, so if you have not had a chance to meet our very intelligent member here this morning, do go downstairs and have a conversation, because as I was standing there having photos, I was noticing that I was getting looked back on, and there was even that conversation between us. So we might have not been able to talk with words, but we could talk with eyes. So congratulations on that. I know that's very important. You can tell that I'm thrilled that you're here this morning, but I'm also very proud of our history of multiculturalism. And as Keith said, that idea of growing ideas, sharing ideas, and being part of a healthy economy together. And so we are fortunate with our diverse range of businesses here in Manningham. And yes, we do have a lot of local businesses. And so Manningham is really proud to be supporting our local businesses. And only last night was I attending our Manningham Business Network evening, a social and networking evening. And I was talking to a room of 50 local businesses. We were sharing business cards, we were sharing ideas, we were talking about how each other's business can support one another. And as I looked around the room, I thought there was no better way for people to get together, to mingle, but also to be proud of their business and what they stand for. So it was really important to have that last night and then this today. I just want to say that we're also fortunate for that healthy relationship, as you talked about, Consulate General, between China and Australia. And here in Manningham, we do wish for that long-term, stable and prosperous local economy between Australia and China that you spoke about. So thank you for mentioning that. I also wanted to say that at Manningham Council, we are committed to support our local businesses as well as international businesses for the growth of our economy. And recently in September, the Council endorsed our economic development strategy. And that very much talks about the heart of what you was talking about today, Consulate General, was about being able to grow ideas, work together for the betterment of our economy, but also for those relationships that then make each local economy thrive as well. Here at Manningham, we are proud to work to actions that help build our economy development strategy, and one of those is that we have a co-working facility underway. So local businesses can come out of their local businesses, they can work together with other local businesses, and that is just a real attribute to be able to share different businesses coming together for their own business needs, but also to be a part of a bigger picture. And that's what we hope to provide here in Manningham. We are wanting to be a vibrant and prosperous economic area for the local community, but for also the rest of Melbourne to want to come and visit. We have a diverse landscape as well as community, and we're very proud of that. Before I finish, I would just like to again acknowledge the incredible work of our hosts, the Australian Commerce and Cultural Federation and AusFocus, and all the supporters and sponsors. I really hope you enjoy the morning, and I can't say again, welcome to Manningham City.
Thank you, Carly. Thank you, Carly, for the warm welcome to Manningham. And next, please join me in putting our hands together for Councillor Philip Liu, Councillor for City of Melbourne, to the stage to share his words.
Thank you, and it's a pleasure to be invited here for the Victoria Economic Development, and also it's great to attend this expo. I also like to acknowledge all the dignitaries, especially Mayor Carly Lang, and representing from all levels of government. Also wanted to acknowledge the People's Republic of China's Consul General, Mr. Xing Wanfang, and also a good friend, Laura Chin, who I've attended the office many times. Look, thank you for the invite, and it's great to see old friends and very much familiar faces. As Chair of the Treasury Portfolio and also the Deputy Chair of Education and Innovation Portfolio, I know the benefits that flow from investment and also innovation. It is pretty much the foundation which Melbourne is being built on. As Treasurer of the Council, this was the first time I was able to deliver a surplus budget in 5 years, and mainly attributed to basically the great international economic development between Melbourne and the rest of the world, but also the many business activities that has happened. And also I always say, if Melbourne and Sydney is not really, and other big cities in the world that's in Australia is not picking up, then Australia will really struggle to get back up. But investment into Victoria, you can't really miss Melbourne. And again, thank you very much for all the invite. But especially the amount of startups, creating something from nothing is so vital and important. And I'm really interested in seeing the AI and also the new innovation technology that come forward. To facilitate this, we actually do have Invest Melbourne, which is working very closely with Invest Victoria about how do we help businesses break into the industry. We also help support headquarters into Melbourne, but also how do we also act as a kind of a broker between you and also coming into the Melbourne. We also aim to do this through our international engagement framework, which actually builds around, and one of the key part is the economic development. So if you do have a chance, please have a look at it. But look, I look forward to having more economic developments in the future and from every part of the world. And I wish this expo great success. Thank you.
Thank you, Philip. Thank you. 好，那接下来呢，让我们有请主办方澳洲商业文化基金会主席 Aaron Chin, the chairman of Australian Commerce and Cultural Foundation and the co-host of our Expo and Forum, to make a closing speech. Let's warmly welcome Aaron.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome. My name is Aaron Chin. As the chairman of Australia Commerce and Culture Foundation, one of the hosts of this Expo and Forum. It's my great pleasure to close this event and extend my heartfelt gratitude to all of our distinguished guests. I would like to specially acknowledge and thank again Mr. Keith Bolohan, MP, Federal Member for Menzies, Mr. Xing Wenfang, Consulate General of People's Republic of China in Melbourne, Mr. Paul Hammond, MP, State Member for Vauxhall, Councillor Carly Lang, Mayor of Manningham, Councillor Andrew Davenport, Deputy Mayor of Whitehorse, Councillor Philip Liu, Councillor for the City of Melbourne, Mr. Zhining Yang, Market Leader in Great China and New Zealand, Invest Victoria, and all the other community leaders and distinguished guests. Your presence and participation has greatly enriched our events, and we are honored to have you with us. The Australian Commerce and Culture Foundation, initiative for ACCF, is a non-for-profit organization which committed to enriching Victoria's economic and cultural landscape. Through the promotion of multicultural awareness and business networking, Our primary aim is to cultivate a deeper understanding and appreciation of the diverse cultures and enrich our community. By fostering an environment where cultural awareness and economic growth are interconnected, we provide a platform for businesses and ethnic groups to engage or collaborate effectively. ACCF understands that many ethnic groups, such as Chinese community, encounter various challenges when integrating into Australian society, often lacking adequate support and guidance. To address this, we plan to create a platform called Civic Life Talk, dedicated to addressing and resolving community issues through live stream interviews. This program will invite personnel from different mainstream sectors of society, such as city councillors, state and the federal MPs, to explain current economic policies and answer public queries, helping ethnic groups and the new immigrants better understand local culture and integrate it into mainstream Australian values. Here, I would like to extend an invitation to Mr. Keith. Would you be willing to be the first guest to our program and become a promoter of multiculturalism? Thank you. And following, I might invite Paul, Carly, and Philip. And over the following 2 days, we will continue to showcase various innovations and developments. We will host several keynote speeches covering hot topics such as artificial intelligence, health policies, and future economic trends. We have invited industry experts and leaders to share their insights. We hope that through this expo and forum, we can provide a platform for collaboration and exchange, driving the business and the economic development of Victoria and Australia as a whole. We encourage you all to actively participate in the coming days, make the most of this platform, explore future directions together, and create more opportunities for cooperation. Thanks again for all the staff and exhibitors and also our volunteers. Without their dedication and hard work, we would not have such a successful event and outcome today. I wish you all a rewarding experience in this event. Thank you again.
Thank you, Alvin. We are very grateful for all the speeches that has made by our guests today. And with your speeches, it has fulfilled us with confidence in the development of Victoria's economy. 再次感谢我们今天论坛开幕式嘉宾的致辞，感谢你们为我们维州经济发展带来了信心。那除了信心之外呢，我们还为大家带来了来自政策制定者、行业学科带头人和行业洞察者的真知灼见，他们将为我们的前行指明方向和保驾护航。First, let's warmly welcome Mr. Zhining Yang, market leader of Greater China and New Zealand, Invest Victoria, to share his insights on Invest in Victoria opportunities and challenges in emerging and traditional industries. 首先呢，我们将有请到的是维州政府投资局大中华区投资总监杨志宁先生，为我们带来维州投资领域新风口及传统项目的机会与挑战的分享。那同时呢，我们在这个屏幕上也会有一个2维码的呈现，如果大家有任何问题的话，都欢迎扫码提出问题。We'll be having a QR code. If you have any questions, please let us know in the end, and then Mr. Yang will be answering your questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. Thanks, Laura, for inviting me to this great event, getting together all the political leaders and also the business leaders. So this morning, I'll just share a few slides about what we do in Invest Victoria. How do we help international companies set up in Victoria? And some of the industry opportunities and the latest trends. Invest Victoria, now we've been working with quite a number of business leaders in here. We are the Victorian government agency that we help international companies to set up in Victoria, providing a range of free services and support. Internationally, we have 23 offices, with 5 in China, located in Beijing, Shanghai, Nanjing, Chengdu, and Hong Kong. So the things that we discuss quite mostly with the international companies, first are why do you come to Victoria? And I think we take a few boxes. A few business leaders we've been working with, I think you probably can vouch for this. Why do you come here? You need a good environment, the lifestyle, that's Melbourne. Someone told me because of weather, I don't know about that, but certainly the livability lifestyle, that's Melbourne. Companies would need a competitive location, supportive government, a competitive cost, and also the place that encourage innovation and support startups, and that's all the environment that we have. So all these boxes that we take, and it's the businesses from, in particular, Chinese and international companies, they pretty much agree that Victoria has all these attributes and why we're here. So talking about investment is always linking back to trade, because we know that a lot of businesses, particularly Chinese businesses, they invest in here, but then they still tap into the big markets back in China. The opportunities here could be access to resources and R&D, but then using their advantages of big commercialization opportunities back in China. So look at the trade opportunities. I remember that when I joined the Invest Victoria 2004 and 5, that was the first year when China overtook the US and became the largest trading partner for Victoria. And back then, in that year, the total trade was worth around $10 billion. And China has been maintaining at that top trading part of Victoria since then. This was the number in 2021 and 2022. So the two-way trade was worth around $40 billion. So it was 4 times of what it was 20 years ago. And look at what's the major products being imported and exported, and that's the opportunity that people think, well, if I set up here, then what do I buy and what do I sell? It's quite common for those trading companies. So exports to China, top one be wool, second wheat, and the third one are dairy, whey, yogurts. Victoria's agricultural state, so we'll talk about the opportunities in agribusinesses. And the top imports changed a bit, so that verified some of the technology changes globally, that Chinese electric vehicles, or passenger vehicles is the top import item, followed by those games, prams, and furniture. And then we move on to some of the Chinese companies. Always people ask me, well, my company's logo is not there. Well, I said, well, yeah, if I put everybody's logo there, I need probably 10 more pages. So this is just some of them, but it's a reflection of the diversity of the investments from China into Victoria. It's different from other states like WA or Queensland. They've got big mining resources, but Victoria, our industry is pretty much diverse. So companies investing into, for example, the tech company Alibaba, e-commerce, the bank, communications, Bank of China, Power China in the renewable sector. So a range of industries which shows the diversity of our economy. I will talk about the startup system, and it's the trend that we observe, in particular in the past 5 years, and also the trends of the investing from overseas into Victoria. We've seen quite a big number of startups setting up in Victoria, those early stage companies looking to raise funds in Australia, conducting R&D, and then get back to overseas markets. That's quite common. And the government has investing heavily into fostering a startup ecosystem. So you can see the trends in here. Back in 2017-18, the valuation of startup in Victoria was barely worth $3 billion. But last year, it was $38 billion. So that's a big jump. And I think the mayor just mentioned the startup ecosystem, and that's what we do, supporting the startups with a range of policies and also funding. With startups, they could grow quickly, become unicorn eventually, scale up some unicorn, and then create a lot of jobs. And that's what companies are doing now. So look at the jobs created by startups. So 2018 was roughly 30,000 jobs It's jumped up to around 60,000 jobs by startups, and a lot of these jobs created by the smaller ones, like the companies employing 2 to 5 people. But they make a great contribution to the local economy and industry. So these are the range of support for startups. Companies must think, well, government support is only for those big ones, like the big manufacturers. That's not necessarily the case. So we have supporting a range of policies and funding supporting startups as well. Launch Week is a good place to start with. This is a Victorian government agency. They have a range of services to support startups, but government also have funding. So we have equity investment funds, we call it. Managed by Invest Victoria is the $20 million funds that we're investing into these startups that we think they have great growth potential, and also those from overseas that are looking to set up here in Victoria. And also the Breakthrough Victoria, which is also an agency managing the government funds with $2 billion that can investing into startups. So we're trying to foster an environment, let startups to set up, prosper, and grow. So the government funding investing into startups, different from private fund managers, we not only look at the financial returns, but also the public policy benefits. So what these startups can bring to Victoria, the innovation, the jobs, and a range of other things. So for startups, it might be difficult getting funding by the private funds, but then you might get some money from the government. So feel free to talk to us. Industry opportunities, that's always the topic. We're very enjoyable talking with a range of international businesses. What do we do? What do we invest? But just to showcase some of the examples. There are a range of industries, definitely it's not in there, but feel free to explore. Advanced manufacturing, that's the area that we receive a lot of inquiries. Why it's advanced? Well, honestly, so Australia and Victoria, it's a location you don't have that much access to cheap labour. But then why do you still set up manufacturing? That's because you could set up here with a premium brand, with the local skills and technologies, and then you could make something with higher value. That's why it's advanced manufacturing. So a range of areas in advanced manufacturing we think that would be opportunities for international and domestic companies to invest into. These including, for example, advanced materials. We have a company from China who's talking about making carbon fiber, still in discussion. Battery manufacturing. We had a Hong Kong company talking with us about, not battery manufacturing, but rolling out EV charging towers. AI robotics. We got Dr. Annie Song here presenting about AI. That's the technology. We've got the robot downstairs. So that's the area with a lot of opportunities. Recycled materials. That'll be a challenge for the society, I think. It's recycling with so much solar panels and batteries, so what do you do with them? So recycling. Transport, engineering, design. Just a quick case study, CRRC is the manufacturer for trains. So the company was contracted by the Victorian government to deliver our metro train system. I think a lot of trains are already running on the track now. They do assembly here with partner Downer. It's a project that we think is beneficial to create local jobs, but also accessing the great technologies in China of making, assembling these fantastic trains. The other one is health and life sciences. Not many people are familiar with these areas, but Victoria has a very, very strong capability in health and life sciences. We have a few medical precincts, Melbourne Uni, Monash Uni, around those areas. And we have quite a cohort of international companies, like including Chinese companies, undertaking clinical trials and drug developments, and companies looking to commercialize some of their medical technologies and importing medical devices. So we see this is an area that with certainly a lot of opportunities and synergies with China, and we're facing the common problem of the aging population, and that needs to be resolved through this health and life sciences, the health. So example that everybody knows, this LifeSpace probiotics, the manufacturing that's acquired by Chinese BioHealth in 2018. And its typical trajectory after the company investing in here, they've got a small manufacturing facility when they acquired it, but it was just too small. China market is so big. So in West Victoria, we helped LifeSpace set up and establish a brand new manufacturing GMP compliance facility in Clayton. That was commissioned last year. So that's typical Chinese companies investing into a local manufacturing industry and then further investing into expanding it or upgrading it into a new facility. And the third one, we talked about agri-food. The trade-wise, it is one of the largest export items from Victoria. And Victoria is a dairy state. We export 80% of Australian dairy products into the So we have quite a number of companies investing into agri-food. We have like some businesses here that I'm familiar with, the wineries, for example, dairy processing. We've got Joe here that we help with them as well, Australian Dairy Park. So it's a good synergy that you have access to the premium branding in Australia, the skills and technologies and setting up the manufacturing, and then back in China you have the big market. So agricultural is typical. This company is quite interesting. So Golden Age Biotech, we helped them set up this manufacturing facility 2 years ago. It is a company actually using the alcohol waste, then making it into some medicine. It's not a medicine, but it's a thing called heparin sodium that can be then further made into pharmaceutical products. So this is the sort of the idea of using some alcohol waste and waste products which doesn't have much value, then you put higher value onto it and then make it into a more valuable product and sell it back into China. So this is a great example of a company using alcohol waste and making it heparin sodium and then make it into pharmaceutical products back in China. And the fourth one I'm going to talk about briefly is clean energy. So everybody probably these days is sort of talking about green economy, and it's happening. Victoria, we have quite ambitious renewable energy targets. Our target is 2025. We need to reduce the emission. It's not reduce emission, but it's more about having renewable capacity by 40% and 2030 renewable capacity by 65%. So this year probably we have reached around 30. But look at the 2030 targets, have a bit of gap in there, and 2035 actually we're looking to 95 renewable percent. That creates a lot of opportunities for companies to setting up some renewable projects like wind generation, solar, and battery storage, electric vehicles to reduce the carbon emissions, and new technologies. So being quite active in this area, the Chinese companies, like the first company that have been dealing with the Goldwind, that was back in 2011, 2012. Goldwind then set up probably one of the first wind farms in Victoria. That one was around with 13 turbines, so it was a small one. But after that one was set up, then Goldwind, after 10 years, was commissioned another big wind farm with 135 turbines. So we've seen quite a big number of companies in China that are investing into these renewable technology and these areas. So that's the Goldwind that we're dealing with. So still talking about what we can help with the company. So with the company from international markets coming over here, there are certainly lots of challenges. Things like, well, where do I start? Whether I set up my office or factory in Box Hill, or maybe in Doncaster, or maybe somewhere in Dandenong. So that's the location decision that we can help with the company. And also, well, we just need a piece of land for a range of things. Maybe someone wants to set up a factory, someone with a proposal to have a farm or things like that. We did have companies finding a beautiful piece of land with nice sea view, and said, oh, we just want to develop it into a theme park, but then realizing down the track it was really difficult because it was zoned not for theme park but for farm, so you can't do it. It's the sort of things that we can help companies to avoid and navigate through all these regulatory requirements and finding a suitable size and so suitable for the purposes. So for support and services like regulatory, EPA, council planning, we have dedicated teams that are helping international companies to navigate through this process, because that's quite challenging for a new investor to navigate through, but that's what we can help them. And also, like introducing to some of the stakeholders and other government agencies, we can be the first stop of call. And for some projects, we think that it would be great value to the states, and there could be funding that we can provide as well, both as grants and potentially as equity investment. So probably wrap up here. And the message is our door is open. So we know that a lot of companies, they want help and they don't know that we exist. So if you need anything, just talk to us. And again, thank you, Laura, for the presentation opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Yang, for your information. And next, I would love to invite Professor Andy Song, Professor in AI, the Manager of the Center of Industrial AI Research and Innovation of RMIT. He will be sharing his insights on the application and prospects of artificial intelligence in the field of commerce and industry. 让我们掌声欢迎我们 Andy Song, RMIT 人工智能中心主管宋正先生，欢迎他。
Thank you for the invitation and a great pleasure to come here. So I'm going to throw some of the slides to you and hopefully I can finish within 15 minutes. Right, so the basic idea is I want to first to say what is AI. So that's probably the most asked questions. So when we look at AI, so there were different perceptions. We will see that may be very clever, maybe very scary, or maybe seductive. Yeah? So that's the AI actually portrayed by Hollywood, right? But if we look at it from the news, then we'll see the facial recognition, which is already happening, and also defeating human champions in Go, right? And also selfless, like self-driving cars. And also Sora, as you already know, that is all over the place now. By the way, it's automatically generated by AI, so no human actually involved in creating this. This actually a very high fidelity video. Hello. It's not working. So if we really look at AI, it's actually a search problem. So basically, to try to search for the next move, right? If we go to find a search for the next best move, for voice recognition, search for the best matching word, for prediction, search for the most likely scenario, and for ChatGPT, is actually search for the most likely token or word sequences. So nothing fancy about that, right? Also, it seems actually, as long as, from a computer science point of view, as long as you can turn into a problem into a search problem, then AI can solve it. All right. So that it's a very simplistic view. That's actually in 1960s. People say, top scientists say machine will be capable within 20 years of doing any work a man can do. And that's the 1960s, and we're already 24, so it hasn't happened yet, because we overestimate the capability of AI, right? So now it's still the same. We still, especially in media, we overexcited and overestimate the capability of AI. So very brief history, so we can look into the future, because future usually repeats, really based on the history. So AI is not a new concept. It started in the 1950s. In 1956, the word AI is actually coined at the famous Dartmouth conference. And in 1964 to the 1980s is AI winter, because people quickly found out that AI is not capable of doing many things, right? And then the AI boom again in 1980, and then it's expert system, and then a second winter come. And then after that, because of the computing power, because of the lots of the technology and especially data, so and AI, so now we see the third AI boom. And whether there's a third AI winter coming, I don't know. I hope there at least will be many years later. And one of the reasons the current booming is big data, big chips, and the deep learning. So the landmark events, you can name it, lots of them. AlphaGo, DARPA Challenge, ChatGPT, Sora, now the GPT 4.0. Yeah. So so why is the current AI boom? So that's my interpretation. The three reasons. One is the digitization of society. But basically, everything is digitized on web, right? That's the key for AI. And second is exponential increase of computational power. I'll just give you a small graph so you can see the growth. And so you can see this is actually logarithmic. So it's actually, it's by times. Okay, so look linear, but it's a logarithmic scale. Okay, and also third is, and the third is the steady advancement in the algorithm development. So the algorithm itself hasn't developed that fast. So compared with 5 years algorithm, very tiny difference. But the computational power, and plus the data is huge. It make a huge difference. So usually when people tell me what AI can do. So fundamentally, as I mentioned, AI is search. So computational research to find a solution if I can give a problem. So AI is usually a suite of method. There's no universal, no only capable AI. We can't say I have a piece of AI can do everything. It doesn't happen, right? It's only happening in science fiction. We don't have that yet. So if you want to say I have a business, I want to utilize AI, can I utilize? Yes. So, but you need to answer yourself several questions. First, whether the goal is well defined, right? You can't tell AI, say, please me, make me happy. It doesn't. That doesn't work. Okay. And say the problem can be coded in a sensible way for computation, which means can be programmed. If you cannot program, then it will be difficult, right? How can I find the best mate? How can I find the best partner for life? No, I don't know how to code that, right? And then the evaluation need to be computationally feasible, right? So, for example, so tell me a joke. The joke must be funny, but how would you measure funny? Right? That's a huge problem. If you have someone manually label that makes it computational feasible, right? But without that, you can't. And the least problem we worry about is actually the algorithm, right? If if you have the solution for the first three, usually you can find a feasible solution, technique to solve that problem. All right, I'll give you some example in business very soon. So that's, as I said, there's no universal AI technique. So every problem have a unique AI program to solve that. So we can categorize the problems rather than categorizing AI, right? So some of the problems, like some of this problem are very easy to solve. So there's no there's optimal AI, so which means there's no chance for human to compete because you can always find the best solution. Then for superhuman AI, so the AI usually performs better than all AI, right? So so the program for chess is only for chess. It can't play chess and go, right? So they're all different programs, and also they are high human, which means AI performs better than most of the human. So for example, bridges, quiz, and the different games, right? And then also, they are par human AI, which means AI performs similar to most of humans. So for like reading books, speech recognition, natural language processing, translation, as we see from there, and the crosswords and driving a car. And before that's actually in the next category. But now because of the advancement of AI, so now I move them to the par human AI. So subhuman AI, so which means usually AI performance worse than most human. So for example, cooking, navigation, sport babysitting, and plumbing. Don't underestimate plumbing, it's extremely difficult task. You can try. And one thing I really like to emphasize is actually AI in specialized field. Means AI can perform similar or worse than experts on the task, but much better than any untrained human, like law, translation, medical diagnosis, logistic operation, so decision making, and this needs training. So AI can beat most of the human without training, but it's very difficult to beat trained person, right? So that's actually AI kind of bring values, okay? I'll talk about that very soon. So in terms of economy, so that's from PwC. This you can see the impact on the GDP is huge. So like say China alone is 7 trillion, and it will impact 26% of GDP, and where's Australia here? And the total is 0.9 trillion and 10% of GDP. And in the US, it's 3.7 trillion. It's 14.5% of GDP. So you can see that's by 2030. So that's actually forecast in 2018. And I think now the figure will even bigger. Anyway, so you can see the impact of potential the AI can bring into our economy, right? And also, if people will say, how about my industry sector? And so this is actually a graph I extracted from PwC report. So you can see the impact is actually scaled between 0 to 5. So there's different industry sectors. You can take a picture. I'll not go in the detail, but you can see most of the industry sectors will be impacted. So some are actually 4, some are 4.2. And auto service and like logistics 3.9, energy actually 4, and some are not impacted like raw material and probably coals and on that mining might not be impacted. So let's move on. And also being asked how about Australia, where Australia stands in terms of the landscape of AI globally, and there's a different measurement from different think tanks. So I'm actually showing you 2 different statistics. So one says here, the first give a score. Let's assume United States is 100, and then China is the second, 54.3, and then Australia is 34.4. It's actually the 6th place. It's not too bad. Yeah, not too bad. Yeah, not too bad at all. And as an Australian AI researcher, I'm quite proud of it. And then the second analysis is on perspective: innovation, capital, rules, and data. And according to this, also U.S. is the first, China second, and Australia is still the top 10. Australia is here. Right, so in terms of research capability, Australia is actually not bad at all. And also, I'm showing you for the sake of fairness, I'm showing you another one. So this one actually showing Australia is not. So I put in the second slide. Is not on this top 10, but the top player you can see U.S., China, Singapore, United Kingdom. But what all this in agreement is actually the top players, US and China. Okay, so now let's look at the social impact. So here I'm actually giving you more questions rather than answers. I don't have answers for them, but what we can see is they do have impact on job security. That's especially for people with obsolete skill set, and also social damage because AI can be used for criminal, immoral, and harmful activities. And also lethal autonomous weapons. That's lots of AI researchers are very vocal about that. Okay. And education strategy, whether we can use AI to teach. Should we still have the current education mode or not? So we use AI to replace or at least assist teachers. We don't know. And the social equality, whether AI will actually make richer more rich, right? So we don't know. It's possible, and also whether our social structure is actually ideal for the current AI era, right? Because I think it will change the social landscape. So if in terms of the AI capability, and you can see, so this actually last year's study is the GPT-4 on different exams. So you can see this is the GPT-4, the green one. So it can perform almost 100%, at least over 80 for most of these exams. For example, like GRE. So it's almost through to the roof. So which means it so that's actually force us to rethink about the value of examination, right? So whether it's still valuable to measure or evaluate the capability of someone just based on exams, because AI can do better. Yeah? And also we've been very often asked about the job security. So that is a formal study from OpenAI itself. So looking to the exposure to AI by occupation. So I have two categories. So this side is actually the most vulnerable. And you can see they all usually are very highly desirable: mathematicians, engineers, accountants, auditors, reporters. They are very vulnerable. And for people, so this on the other side is the least vulnerable. So equipment operators, dishwasher, carpenters, helpers, and slaughters, meat packers. They are actually least vulnerable. So workers facing lower barrier to enter their jobs tend to have a less exposure, right? So this is by formal study. And the more depressing news is this one. So you can see higher education actually leads to more vulnerability. So, okay, so you see here, this bachelor degree and master degree, and so this impact, this number are the numbers of impact index generated by 6 different evaluators. I'm not going into detail, but you can see it's a high impact. But in comparison, so in comparison, there's no people with no formal education or just high school has the least amount of exposure, the impact factor. Okay, so and the PhD, now good is it's vulnerable, but not as bad as bachelor and master. Yeah, so that's actually will force us to rethink of education, the value of education, and the mode or the delivery means of education. Yeah. So now, and this is the investment forum, and of course, it's very important to see what AI can do for your business. All right. So AI can do a lot. I only give you some examples, and some actually from actual projects of we collaborating with other industry partners. So for example, AI can use for business management, right, which is already happening. And you can use AI for expert advising services. So which means Q&A and just answering phones. And lots of companies, especially startup, is stepping into this area. Okay, and also business analysis, emotion analysis. So I can tell what's based on the analysis what people will be interested, and also I can give a video or give a user comment. I can measure whether people are happy or not. Okay, and what kind of emotion will involved in the comment and so on and so forth. Right? And also risk management, that for banking is already in place. And prediction, that's also a big area, especially in finance, marketing, research. And also in a non-intrusive analysis, so we can just look at data, even on Wi-Fi signal, to tell what's going on in this room without violating any privacy. And also energy optimization, it is a huge topic and has huge impact on the energy sector. And also predictive maintenance, so I can predict whether the light bulb will going off in a few days. So I can come here first before it, it's a proactive rather than reactive, right? So that's all. Yeah. So that's so I will just throw in these slides to you. Hopefully, right? So we'll give you more questions, and I'll be hanging around. So I'm happy to talk to you regarding the details. Thank you.
Right. I think many of us are worried a bit. I saw myself on the 2 vulnerable lists for occupation and also for my education background. I'm a bit worried. All right, so next let's warmly welcome our final speaker of today, Mr. Xiaomai Wang, Executive Director of Simple Solutions. He will be sharing his insights on navigating New Horizons Australia's strategic trade role in APAC with China. 接下来，让我们掌声欢迎我们今天最后一位分享嘉宾——澳洲上市公司 Simple Solution 执行董事王小麦先生。他将为我们分享的是澳洲在亚太地区的商业角色与机遇。掌声欢迎。
Right, thank you. So what a morning, huh? As recommended by Professor Song, if you want to become future-proof, just don't go to schools anymore. Is that right? So that's one thing I learned from the presentation. All right, thank you, everyone. So I know it's about lunchtime. I'll keep my presentation short and sweet. I'll be around this afternoon. Actually, I'm going to be the first speaker in the forum this afternoon. So we have opportunities to answer questions and have a further discussion. My topic sounds very boring. I'll try to keep it not as dry. If I can't help coughing during my presentation, don't worry, I'm fit and healthy. I'm just recovering from a bad flu, so no need to call any ambulance. All right, let's get started. All right, did you know that Australia is an Asian country?
Yes. Yeah.
Some might not agree with me. Actually, one of my dear Australian friends told me this a few years ago. And he said, if you don't believe me, just get a map, open it, and you'll see. And whether we agree with that or not, Australia is actually doing really well. Australia is very lucky. And the southeast region is the fastest growing region in human history by our Prime Minister. And Australia is right in the middle of it. So, and to be more precise, by Alan Patience in his book, Australian Foreign Policy in Asia, Australia is a middle power in Asia. And what does that mean? So middle power means Australia is not as major or significant like China or the US. But also Australia is not as minor or insignificant like many small countries in Europe or in Southeast Asia. So Australia has a very important and unique role to play here in Southeast Asia. And as a middle power, the best way to prosperity is to learn how to work with others. Especially for Australia, it's a small open economy. If the whole world gets better, Australia will benefit from that a lot. And let's look at Australia's economic character. So there's an interesting fact. Australia over the last 3 decades has achieved a Genius record and still holds that Genius record. Is 30 years of uninterrupted GDP growth. And it's going to be pretty difficult to beat in the coming years. So the GDP growth has averaged about 3%, which is impressive for an advanced developed economy like Australia, with only 27 million population. And Australia's economy is very resilient. This is true during the 1997 Asia economy crisis. This is true during the 2008 global financial crisis. And this is also true during the pandemic 2 or 3 years ago. I know some of us might not like the policies, the way the government managed the pandemic, the lockdowns. But in hindsight, Australia actually did really well during the pandemic in terms of the number of patients and how the healthcare system handled the whole situation. Arguably, Australia has a diversified economy. So there's mining, there's energy, there's financial sectors, and education is booming. Education services, or we have another term, the overseas students economy here, especially where we are now, Melbourne, Victoria. Overseas students economy is the largest revenue stream. Same thing for South Australia, our neighbor. That creates 200,000 direct jobs already. And this is still growing. Some indicators, and Mr. Young has covered a lot of these. So I'll go through this quickly. So GDP last year is already close to $2 trillion, and this is the number 14 economy in the world. Again, for a 27 million population country, this is impressive. Inflation rates. In history, it has been pretty good. 2 to 3%. I know we have experienced some high inflationary environments over the last couple of years. Everyone just complains about the price increase, but compared to other similar advanced economies, Australia is actually doing not too bad. Unemployment rates average 3.5% over the last 30 years. Again, that's considered to be pretty healthy. In the next 12 months, the unemployment rates probably will go up a bit. Again, this is necessary for the economy to grow over a long time. Trade is one of the most significant components of Australia's economy. Actually, 1/4 of Australia's GDP comes from exports. And China plays a very important role, which I'm going to cover in the next slide. We export iron ore, materials, energy, education, tourism to other countries in the region. And we import a lot of electronics, textile products from other countries in the region. And as our General Counsel mentioned, China has become the largest trading partner to Australia in 2009. And now it's the 15 years in a row. And it's probably going to continue. And if we think about it, 2009, that's the next year, the year after the 2008 global financial crisis, where almost all the Western advanced economies were affected in a bad way. And that's showing us how Chinese economy and Australian economy, how resilient they are after a big crisis. Okay. So, like I said, Australia is part of Asia. It's in the middle of the actions. And Australia is actually very active in this region. So we have this China-Australian Free Trade Agreement. And also, probably heard of like APEC, ASEAN, RCEP. Actually, ASEAN, they have their summit, 2024 summit here in Melbourne 2 months ago. And Australian government has promised a $2 billion fund or debt and equity to support Australian investments in infrastructure and clean energy in the region, which creates a lot of opportunities for us here in Australia. And trade with China, again, the largest trading partner, is going really strong, and especially with wines and grains and lobsters and beef are now coming back. So I think a lot of our audience here will be very happy to hear news like that. And as mentioned by Mr. Yang just now, the trade volume has reached around $320 billion last year. So we already know that. But the key sectors for investment and trade here. So Australia is famous for many things now. When I came to Australia 23, 24 years ago, Australia was known for sheep and minerals. That's it. But now, if we look at Australia's economy, we know Australia has some of the most famous universities in the world. And the ranking has been improving over the last few years. So education and training, especially for Victoria, that's going to be significant. I told a joke about Mr. Song's presentation. If you want to become future-proof, don't go to schools because AI will replace you anyway. That was actually a joke. No, that's not a recommendation. Okay? But for Victoria, we need to rethink what education means, because Victoria has been famous for education, right? What if in the next 5-10 years AI change everything about education? What Victoria will do about that, right? And Victoria could be the next education pioneer in AI. How to work with AI, not work against AI. Instead of have a fear over AI, how about let's make good use of AI? That's all education. So there's a revolution coming up in the Victorian education sector. Health and biotech. I was working for a biotech company a few years ago from China, and there was a lot of collaborations between Chinese pharmaceutical companies and research institutes and universities here, there's still a lot of potentials here. Australia is actually very, very good at medical research. Parkville, where Melbourne University's campus is actually one of the top 3 medical research regions in the world, in the whole world. So there's so many we can do in that space, and there's a number of Chinese companies already here and other regions as well. Renewable energy, that's a big one. So did you know that solar panels were actually invented in Australia by University of New South Wales? All right, we'll give that one to Sydney. So we're going to do the next one. But renewable energy is really booming. It's very common to see solar panels on a home now if you go to a suburban home. But when you travel to other parts of Southeast Asia, Indonesia, for example, they don't have any solar panels on the roof. And it's actually perfect for them to put some panels on the roof to generate power, to reduce the energy cost. So there's a lot of things Australia can offer. Personally, I'm not sure if we have a lot of competitive advantage in manufacturing solar panels and batteries here in Australia. At the moment, we only have 1 or 2 solar panel manufacturers in Australia, right, 100% local. It's going to be very competitive, but Australia has a lot of expertise, solutions, technologies to offer in the renewable energy space. And in the coming years, Australia probably will become one of the key players to produce hydrogen and export hydrogen. And that's going to be huge for Australia. Victoria, New South Wales, Queensland, Western Australia will be all part of it. Agribusiness, Australia is famous for beef, lobsters, very high quality produce. And information technology, digital services, that's coming as well. So if we look at the Australian Stock Exchange, over the last 20, 30 years, it hasn't changed that much in terms of the sector percentages. So we have mining companies. If you look at it, the top 10 listed companies in Australia, 5 of them are banks, and 3 are mining companies. One is healthcare, CSL, and the other one is consumer products, all right, West Farmers. And that hasn't changed much over the last 20, 30 years. That's good, because it's so stable, where we know what Australia is very good at. That's bad, it's not bad, but we probably could have a more diversified economy. But when it comes to information technology, the technology sector in Australia is doing really well, and it's improving. We have many technology companies now, especially in fintech, artificial intelligence, and AI. And IoT, Internet of Things, that's booming here too. It's actually becoming a $26 billion US dollar industry this year, and it's still growing. And Australia is doing quite well in this space. Some challenges, right? Geopolitical tensions, let's face it, there are some tensions around the relationship, just like what I'm trying to recover from the flu, right? The relationship will be fit and healthy over a long period of time. Australia will just be Australia. China will just be China. But how the 2 countries interact with each other could change, right? And that's us here. If you look at the distinguished guests in this room and the kiosks in the next room, or the businesses, that's real life proof of what we can achieve, even during up and down times. 24 years ago when I came to Australia, in the Chinese community, we had milk bar owners, we had taxi drivers, we had immigration agencies. But look at, now, we have achieved a lot. And there's so many different industries in services, in healthcare, in university, in education. There are many things we're doing. Market competition, yes, it's actually very competitive in the Southeast Asia market. I'm on the front line. I travel a lot to Southeast countries all the time, and I can see how Australia needs to become more Asia capable and understand how competitive it is and really leverage our unfair competitive advantage to win in the Asia Pacific region. Regulatory, trade barriers, infrastructure, connectivity. Australia is doing pretty well there. We have major airports now, seaports now. It's not that bad to fly to the southeastern countries now. Sorry about that. Thank you. Culture and business practices. This is a big one. Thank you. This is a big one. I have witnessed many business failures over the last few years. For Australian business going into China, or Chinese companies coming into Australia. Not because of the product, not because of the service offerings, but because of the lack of the understanding of cultural nuances. The business need the right people, the right talent. Not only the talent who speak the language, but also the talent who really understand how business is done in different regions, different culture. So I encourage more activities around that. We can have more exchange programs for the business leaders to travel to different regions, to understand different cultural nuances, more training, more education on that is certainly going to help. And then we'll start to understand why we have a big drinking session of Mai every night before the big important meeting the next morning. All right, the trends for Australia. Okay, fintech is growing very strong. IoT, artificial intelligence, is going really strong here. So Australia is changing from exporting raw materials to more services. Sustainable development and green economy, and I'm working in the green economy space, and I know Australia is doing a lot of good things, promoting sustainable development, renewable energy, like I said, hydrogen, wind, solar, it's all happening here as we speak. And Australia has a lot of advantages in the renewable energy age. And when I traveled to Singapore not a long time ago, Singapore and Malaysia, they are trying to transition to renewable energy themselves, the same as Vietnam, and that all represents opportunities for Australia. China's role and future perspective. The trade relationship, I think it's going to continue strong. And the two countries will learn how to navigate through the complex relationships. It is complex. We don't have any simple answers to that. I don't think anyone has. But on the trade side, I think we have proof that we can work together, that we can achieve a lot of things. How Australia can win in Asia? Relationships, yes. We are promoting more investments in ASEAN, in APEC. We are trying to attract investments into Australia, Victoria in particular. And we have a lot of companies here, Chinese companies here in Australia for years already. Investing in innovation and technology, this is a big one, especially in fintech. And like I said, enhance education and skilled workforce. Education will change, like it or not. If your kids, if they are 10, 12 years old now, or 14 years old now, and one day they come home and say, Dad or Mom, I don't want to go to school anymore, it's too boring, I won't have a job one day anymore, AI will do everything for me, that's probably common, and it's going to be more common. So it's for us to think or rethink what education means, especially for us here when it is the #1 income stream. Sustainable practices and also ethical practices. Australia has a lot of influence in that one. Again, leverage cultural understanding and alumni network. So we know education is a big industry in Australia. The powerful byproduct is we have 500,000 Australian university graduates, alumni. Let's use them. Let's activate that network. That's it. And I'll see everyone at 1:30. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Wang. Thank you to all our industry leaders for sharing your wisdom through your presentations. And I believe that all of us has gained a lot and find it truly worthwhile. And we would also like to extend our gratitude to all our guest speakers for supporting us today. And also finally, a big thank you to our two hosts, AusFocus Media and Australia Commercial Cultural Foundation, for for providing us such a wonderful platform to exchange and also for development. I hereby declare the opening ceremony of our forum has now concluded. We would like to invite all our VIP guests to the lunch buffet area where we have prepared exquisite cuisine with premium wine and also tea beverages from the Australian Tea Association. In the afternoon, we will also have parallel sessions including discussions on the business sector and an introduction of our tea culture. We welcome all interested participants to join us in the afternoon. Once again, thank you all for your support and for your time to be here. Thank you. 尊敬的各位嘉宾，我们今天的论坛开幕式呢到这里就正式结束了。再次感谢大家的到来。那在今天的下午呢，我们还会有分论坛商业板块的分享以及茶文化的介绍。我们欢迎我们所有感兴趣的嘉宾可以积极参与。那再次欢迎各位的到来，以及我们2天的活动，也希望大家可以积极参与。再次感谢大家，谢谢 ，Thank you。